Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
WMAL. 8:37 now, O'Connor and Company. Chris Plant is going to do the Chris Plant Show in 30 minutes. Good for him.
It's always entertaining.
It's like it when good guys get regular gigs like that, right? It is Cassie Smedley here in for a On the Mend Julie Gunlock. And joining us now, Cassie, is John Lott. Now, John Lott, as I just said, has forgotten more about gun laws in this country than most people will know. He is the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, author of many, many important books, including the seminal More Guns, Less Crime. And John joins us now about a Supreme Court hearing today. Good morning, Mr. Lott. Always good to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you, Larry and Cassie. Thanks for having me on.
So what's the crux of the Hawaii law right now that is being discussed before the Supreme Court?
Yeah, this morning they're going to hear oral arguments on a concealed carry law in Hawaii. What happened was in 2022, the Supreme Court struck down the rules that 7 states had been using for granting concealed carry permits. In those states, like New York and California and Hawaii and New Jersey, you had to provide a good reason to some local public official for why you should be able to go and carry a gun for protection. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can have objective rules. You can have training requirements or background checks and fees, but you just can't arbitrarily decide whether you think one person has a good reason, another one doesn't have a good reason. And and so they struck down the laws, and the states changed their laws. But what they did was they made it almost impossible to carry any place. In Hawaii, for you to carry into any gas station or restaurant or movie theater or any place, you had to go and get either oral or written permission from the store owners there before you were allowed to go and carry. You weren't even allowed to be in the parking lot unless you had that permission in advance. And so they essentially just said, fine, we'll issue the permits, you just won't let you carry any place.
Yeah, it sounds to me like, the Bill of Rights are about our rights. And then the whole conceit behind those rights is that these are rights that we were born with, that the Constitution protects us from the government infringing on those rights, or anyone else for that matter infringing on those rights, John Lott. And it seems to me that if you need to ask somebody's permission, it's not a right anymore. That sort of goes contrary to the concept of a right if somebody is granting you permission or withholding permission for you to do that thing that you have a right to do.
Right. Well, I think the court's going to say that these property owners may be able to post a sign that says you can't be there, but to just automatically say that you can't do it unless you get permission in advance, I think they'll strike down. And look, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to quickly, because this is sort of your wheelhouse here in, setting aside the constitutionality. Well, I don't want to set aside the constitutionality and the inherent right that one has to self-defense. But what about the practicality of it? Is there any data to support that these arbitrary, gun-free zones, or no, you can't, that you may have the legal right to carry, but not on my property, does that in any way reduce gun crime and gun violence?
Right. Well, in fact, it's the opposite. And the reason is that when you go and you ban guns from different areas, it's basically the most law-abiding, good citizens who obey the rules. We had this attack at the school in Minneapolis in September. If you or I carried a permanent concealed handgun onto school property there, they have a gun-free zone area. You'd face 5 years in prison. For you or I, that would be a huge penalty. Our lives would be completely changed, having to go to prison for 5 years. But let's say you're the murderer in this case, who murdered 2 people and wounded 17 others, who, if they had lived and they died, but let's say they had even lived, they'd be facing, 5-6 year life sentences? Do you think taking 5 years away from their 6th or 7th life would make a difference to them, it's no penalty for them. And so what you've done is you've set up a system that the good law-abiding people will obey. They'll be disarmed. And, the thing is, anybody who reads the diaries and manifestos for these mass murderers knows that they check these rules. This is important to them. They explain over and over again why they pick the targets that they do. They may be crazy in some sense, but they're not stupid. Their goal is to get media attention, and they know the more people they kill, the more media attention that they're going to be able to go and get. And they know if they go to a place where guns are banned, it'll be easier for them to go and kill lots of people. So, these bans actually serve as magnets for those places to be attacked because they know that they'll be the only people that are going to be able to have a gun in places where it's banned. And it makes their job of committing their crimes easier.
Yeah, it's the irony of these gun safety groups, quote unquote, that they're playing right into the hands of those who wish to do innocent Americans, especially children, harm. And I know we've talked a lot about this on the soft side. The soft that if you are at a school and you want to do harm to those children and you think that on the other side of that door is someone who would prevent you from doing that harm and have no issue countering your ability to do that, you're going to think twice about it. And yet here we were just talking in the last segment of Virginia with the new governor and how they are making efforts, and we saw this in D.C. where I moved out of last year, to reduce the penalty on those using guns legally or illegally, reduce the penalty on those crimes. So what is the impact on that? What's the deal with that?
Look, this isn't rocket science. If you want to go and reduce crime, you have to make it risky for criminals to commit crime.
Sure.
And you can do that with higher arrest rates, higher conviction rates, longer prison sentences. But you can also do it by letting victims be able to go and defend themselves. That also makes it riskier for criminals to go and commit crimes. And unfortunately, what happens is that the Democrats too often will want to reduce the legal penalties for committing crimes and also make it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to go and defend themselves. And so at least you could say they're being consistent because they're going through all the different things that could make it riskier for criminals to commit crime and trying to reduce all those things at the same time.
Yeah. And make it more difficult, if not outright illegal, for innocent people to actually exercise their Second Amendment right and protect themselves. So real fast, just summarize again, John Lott, what you hope, or I shouldn't say hope, but what you suspect will be the outcome of these arguments today and where the court might end up.
Well, I think the court's going to go and have to define what you have to do to get a gun-free zone, to go and ban guns in places. And I think what they're going to say is you have to do more than just put up a sign. If you really don't want to allow people to be able to go and protect themselves, then the government's going to have to protect them. You're going to have metal detectors and have police officers there in order to do it. You just can't expect a sign to be put up and say, well, we've done our job. A sign's there that says people shouldn't be able to have guns in place. And
John
I think
Lott,
they'll
president of the
gun-free zones across the country. So.
Crime Prevention Research Center. It's crimeresearch.org. Crimeresearch.org. Take it from me, a radio talk show host for going on 15, 16 years. It is one of the most important and vital websites with some of the best research on the crime statistics and the reality behind these laws. John Lott is indispensable. John, great talking with you as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Larry and Cassie.